Hi, everybody. Kyle Patterson here with Bryson Insurance, joined by Glenn Caldwell of NAL Insurance. They are the largest alternative to WSIB for owner-operators and fleets in Canada, primarily serving Ontario and Quebec. So thank you, Glenn, for joining us today.
Thanks, Kyle.
Really what's behind this video is the opportunity to share with all the drivers here who utilize your programs and maybe not, what's been going on with COVID-19, and how does your program or policy sort of respond today to drivers who are dealing with who are going into the U.S.
Okay, super. Well, thanks again for having me on. I just wanted to kind of appease everybody that the NAL travel medical portion does cover COVID-19, providing there's no symptoms before leaving. All the coverages are going to say the same thing. If there is symptoms before leaving, you should go into quarantine for the 14 days, and maybe we can get this challenging illness to kind of like slow down a bit. That's kind of the goal. But yes, it is covered.
Okay, so a driver goes into the States and maybe has a cough or some other thing like a fever, and it just is concerned that maybe now I've contracted this. What do you recommend, or what are you guys recommending that the driver actually does?
Well, a couple things they can do. We've partnered with a company called Maple, which is an app where they can actually dial in and speak to a Canadian doctor. All they have to have is their OHIP number, and that's going to be covered for free screening. That's kind of like the first step. If it goes beyond that, and that doctor thinks that it is something that you should go see a doctor about, then they should obviously go to a clinic or. I know in Ontario we have a bunch of centers that are set up for COVID specifically, as opposed to just going into the emergency room. But the first call I would make would be to download that Maple app and speak to a Canadian doctor.
Okay, well, I'll make sure to put the Maple app in the blog post too, just to make sure that the link is there, or at least where to find that is available to everybody.
Excellent, appreciate that.
And doing a check before. So I hear about making sure that you don't currently have the symptoms before you go. I mean, that can be pretty challenging or tricky to know whether or not you have a common cough or cold versus having symptoms. I mean, and that is a symptom. So, I mean, what do you recommend, or what do you say around drivers who maybe potentially are having something before they leave? Do you also recommend that same call into that line, or how do you?
Yeah, they can do that wherever they are in Canada, the United States. That number is clear, but the goal is to, and the problem is if you think you've got it, they can test for it, but you don't know for sure for at least 3 or 4 or 5 days before the results come back. So we're suggesting do your proper diligence on it. If you have any of the symptoms, then by all means hold back.
Okay, and in terms of this being something that's universal, so really giving peace of mind to the drivers that are out there who are putting themselves on the line and putting their families at risk too when they come home, but giving peace of mind to the drivers. So this program that you offer does provide this coverage. Is that universal, or are there other programs that they need to be watching out for, that if they're not with the NAL program, that they may not be covered? Can you provide any feedback?
Yeah, I know you're probably speaking about last week. I know there was a number of insurance providers that stated they would not be covering COVID because of the travel advisory. I think that's changed, where most of them have actually changed their thoughts on that, where they are covering COVID. My recommendation though is if you have a product with somebody else, contact that broker and talk to them about what are the limitations. I know some of the plans will also have pre-existing condition clauses in that. Maybe speak to them about how that may impact this as well.
Fantastic. And is there anything else you want to say? Anything else you want to contribute here toward letting drivers know or letting fleets know?
Well, I know our nutrition, we have a company called Healthy Trucker as well, and she's talking to our drivers about making sure that they're staying healthier by, eating properly, getting your proper intake of good foods and getting your sleep. And the key is to keep your immune system up, and obviously the washing of the hands and not touching the face and sanitizing things. Those are all going to be part of our our everyday normal life moving forward, I think.
Fantastic. Yeah. And thanks, Glenn. And thanks too for all you do to help keep our trucks moving and keep our drivers safe. They are such an essential part of keeping us all safe here. So thanks to you and your company for doing the work you're doing to ensure that they have that peace of mind to keep us well fed and well taken care of. So thank you.
Well, I think the thanks needs to go to the drivers, because
Yes.
they're the ones that are heading out and risking it on a daily basis to ensure that we can have all our things and keep the economy going. So big thanks to the trucking companies, to the dispatchers and everybody else that's involved in this.
Absolutely. Well, be well, be safe. And again, thank you. And thanks all the truckers. Take care and have a great day.
Thanks, Cal.